Tonight on CTV News at 6, compounding construction projects slow southwest Edmonton.
It is just on and on and on.
How traffic flow solutions are making a busy area more congested than ever.
Our neighbors just moved because of the traffic. Yeah, that's how serious it is.
Danielle Smith's referendum defense campaign continues.
I don't think that Albertans have a problem with their Western Canadian counterparts. I think their problem has been some politicians in Ottawa.
And prestigious scholarship. A local student's passion for trees pays off.
375 trees with lots of them have photos, measurements, and stories behind them.
2 more days of heat, and then some cooler air slides in through the weekend and some rain.
Jeff Hastings.
Good evening. It's a sign that spring is here. Construction ramping up all over the city. A few areas are feeling detours and delays more than most. Road projects have taken over many areas of Edmonton's ever-expanding southwest. The area councillor is working to improve communication, but as Jeremy Thompson reports, that's small comfort for drivers dealing with long commutes.
Land is being leveled and serviced near Edmonton's southern boundary. This will soon become the new Kendall neighborhood. People who already live here worry about adding to the population.
Yeah, this area is pretty darn congested. I moved in 11 years ago and it was pretty bare and you could get anywhere really easy, and now it's not the case.
Work is underway to improve traffic flow. Neighborhood developers are required to widen roads and improve intersections in phases as more homes get built and traffic increases. Right now, there are at least 4 different developer-driven projects along this stretch of road. For drivers, it means lane closures and long commutes.
Our neighbors just moved because of the traffic. Yeah, that's how serious it is. That's how serious it is.
Yeah, it's really crazy. They're doing all the construction at one time. All the roads are blocked.
It's not just this part of Edmonton. Major projects are choking traffic flow near Twin Brooks along 111th Street. There's bridge construction on this section of Ellerslie Road, and parts of Winterburn Road or 215th Street are fully closed. The city acknowledges construction fatigue across Edmonton. A spokesperson says we're delivering unprecedented multi-year city-shaping investments to build a resilient future network while simultaneously managing record-breaking population growth and a return to pre-pandemic travel patterns.
It is just on and on and on.
Councillor Mike Elliott says the work needs to be done, but he believes it wouldn't be so painful for drivers if they knew it was coming. He's working with city staff to create a construction portal online.
Anyone in the city can actually access this and find out what's going on in their communities and specifically their roads. So it doesn't alleviate everything, but I think the communication is going to be much better.
Some relief is coming in the Windermere area. A few projects are scheduled for completion throughout the summer, while others won't be done for another year or 2. Jeremy Thompson, CTV News, Edmonton.
Premier Danielle Smith says she's already started to advocate for Alberta staying in Canada at this week's Western Premiers Conference. However, she's maintaining her position on a referendum on separation is necessary before Alberta can move on from the debate.
We want to get pipelines built to Churchill. We want to get pipelines built to the Grays Bay. We want to get pipelines built to either Prince Rupert or Vancouver. And you can't do that if you're fighting with your neighbors. I don't think that Albertans have a problem with their Western Canadian counterparts. I think their problem has been some politicians in Ottawa.
Smith says policies from people like federal NDP leader Avi Lewis and former Liberal Minister Stéphane Guilbeault, who resigned from federal politics today, have chased away all manner of investment. Political scientist Laurie Williams says while it's clear many Albertans feel Ottawa has been unfair with our province, questions are surrounding Smith, including from Manitoba Premier Wab Kinew. He believes the referendum should be delayed.
I think Wab Kinew's question is one that's echoing in a lot of places. Why not wait? Why not get the pipeline moved a bit further down the road and then hold the referendum? And that's going to be a tough question for Danielle Smith to answer.
Williams says over the summer she's going to be watching the polls and the work of pro- and anti-separation advocacy groups to see how Albertans are responding to the referendum question. The UCP caucus is echoing its leader's adamancy about remaining in Canada despite the referendum that could trigger a future vote on separation. The party says it's not a separatist party despite pushback from some of its membership. CTV's Tyson Fedor reports.
Alberta is making headlines across the country for a referendum set for 5 months from now, where citizens will be asked if they want to remain in Canada or start the process of possibly leaving with another vote.
This type of uncertainty is unhelpful for long-term investment decisions.
Investment decisions that some within the UCP agree could be lost with growing sentiment and rhetoric around the separatism debate.
We've got about 1 million Albertans who are frustrated with the relationship with Ottawa to a point where they think it's time to file the divorce papers. I don't feel that way.
Premier Danielle Smith is adamant she does not want to split from Confederation, pointing to a deal to build pipelines with the PM. Her government caucus colleagues are also on board, with several planning to vote to remain.
We support sovereign Alberta within United Canada. So I emphasize that because this is what we stand for. Right?
I definitely wish to remain in Canada. I think there's a pathway to meeting the aspirations for Albertans within Canada.
I always campaign for Alberta and Canada, and better together is better.
On Canada Day, we will definitely be celebrating and handing out Canada flags.
Still, some are trying to downplay the dissenting voices from within the party.
At no point have we had a discussion about being an independence party.
UCP President Rob Smith told CTV News late last week that the party would only consider a vote on becoming a sovereign, independent party if the majority of Albertans voted in a referendum to annex themselves from Canada.
I think the Premier is doing the best that she can to prove to Albertans at this point in time how Alberta can prosper within Canada.
The Premier blames past politicians and some current for backing Albertans into a corner on a vote on separation.
Politicians who use their platform to target Alberta, target our resource, target our wealth. And that's what I think Albertans have responded to.
Tyson Fedor, CTV News, Calgary.
Prime Minister Mark Carney says if Alberta moves in favor of separation, a 50+1 referendum result will not be enough to break up the country.
For under a Clarity Act, it is absolutely not, and I would just recommend that you read the Clarity Act. It's very clear. Not surprisingly, the Clarity Act is very clear. And a determination, and there's a series of conditions which I responded in the House for the record.
The Prime Minister was responding to a comment made in the House by a Bloc Québécois MP. The MP suggested a bare majority would be enough. Carney said the House of Commons will not weigh in on whether the question on Alberta's upcoming referendum is clear because the vote is not binding. Edmonton police say they need toxicology results before they can determine how a toddler died. EPS says officers were called Saturday night to help paramedics at an apartment near 91st Street and Jasper Avenue. Police say they were told a toddler was found dead inside a suite. The medical examiner's office completed an autopsy today but can't make a determination until toxicology results are known. EPS Homicide Section continues to investigate. Police have arrested dozens of the most wanted criminals in the Edmonton area thanks to a joint operation between police services. Over a 4-day period last month, officers from the Edmonton Police Service, RCMP, and Alberta Sheriffs arrested 88 priority offenders with active warrants. The offenses range from possession of stolen property to aggravated assault to extortion with a firearm. Police say these types of joint operations are crucial to catching offenders who pose the highest risk to public safety.
Because many offenders and organized crime networks operate across multiple jurisdictions, effective policing cannot occur in isolation. Joint forces operations like this enable agencies to collaborate, share expertise, and apprehend those causing the most harm to communities, while strengthening policing partnerships.
The RCMP says it would like to conduct these types of large-scale joint operations at least once or twice a year. RCMP are looking for help to find a vintage safe. Police say the safe was reported stolen from a home in Stony Plain May 1st. The safe is branded Winnipeg SafeWorks and weighs about 450 kilograms. A witness told police that either April 27th or 28th, they saw a dark-colored truck with a trailer using a winch to load the safe onto the trailer. Anyone with any information is asked to call RCMP. A new weight loss procedure is now available in Edmonton for people struggling with obesity. As Curtis Goodrum reports, doctors hope the procedure can reduce the use of weight loss drugs.
I've been struggling with my weight since I was 15.
Marianne Thurber has been in a near lifelong battle with her weight. Last year, she was accepted to Royal Alexandra Hospital's bariatric clinic, a centre focusing on treating obesity. After 8 months, Thurber had the choice of a gastric bypass procedure or something new.
I wasn't really sure if I wanted to do the bypass or the sort of bigger surgery, so he suggested this new type of surgery that he's doing.
The procedure is called endoscopic sleeve gastroplasty, or ESG. It essentially shrinks a person's stomach, making the person full faster.
We have control to be able to suture in and out and pass sutures, enabling us to perform this procedure.
Thurber's lost more than 90 pounds through the bariatric clinic.
I feel a lot more active. I enjoy walking all the time when I never used to.
According to the Royal Alexandra Hospital, they're at the forefront of this new procedure, and it's already being covered by Alberta Health Services for those in the bariatric clinic at the hospital.
This is the other option where the complication rate is very small, the benefits are really large.
The team at Royal Alexandra started performing ESGs at the beginning of December. They've since completed 10. They say it's the future of weight loss.
And it's pain-free and it's reversible, so I think this is a technology that's a true game changer.
Weight loss drugs like Wegovy and Ozempic can be taken before and after the procedure, but the team hopes this will lower the need.
But the whole thought is that this should allow you to come off those medications. So you wouldn't need to be on lifelong medications once you've had this surgery.
I do feel like I'm a new kind of life has opened up for me.
Thurber hopes others will consider the procedure so it could change their lives too. Curtis Goodrum, CTV News, Edmonton.
As millions of Muslims mark Eid al-Adha by making the journey to Mecca for Hajj, Muslim Edmontonians are holding their own celebrations. Special prayers took place this morning at different mosques in the city, including at the Edmonton Islamic Academy. Eid al-Adha is the holiest holiday in Islam. It's known as the Festival of Sacrifice. It honors Prophet Ibrahim's willingness to sacrifice his son as an act of faith.
It is a very significant day for us where we reshare the story, learn from it, come together as a community to honor those who came before us, but also to renew our commitment to the year forward and just celebrate, come together in celebration.
The Islamic Academy will be holding a carnival tonight, including fireworks later. Anyone is welcome to join. Some local seniors are getting some spruced up spaces thanks to a group of volunteers. More than 40 TELUS employees spent the day volunteering with the Operation Friendship Senior Society. The society provides housing, outreach, and support for vulnerable seniors in Edmonton. Volunteers spent the day helping improve the seniors' outdoor spaces, including painting gazebos, planting flowers, and doing yard work.
You can tell the smiles on their faces this morning. Our seniors, some of them coming down and just saying thank you to the volunteers. That's what today's all about.
Volunteers also spent some quality time with the seniors. It was all part of the Day of Giving. Well, Josh was up early this morning to help MC the Adaptabilities Breakfast in our city. Adaptabilities works to fill gaps in essential services for people with disabilities. Organizers say this annual breakfast is a way to celebrate the successes of the families the charity supports.
This event is about bringing people together in our community who care about belonging. And we support families who have children with disabilities, and we want to empower our children to grow, succeed, and belong in community.
People at the breakfast heard 4 inspiring stories from families who benefited from the Adaptabilities program. Bright and early today, Josh. For that, was the weather nice when you were up?
It was spectacular, actually, and that's a great organization. So if you can support Adaptabilities, hey, you can find them online, and I'm sure they will still take your support. 27 degrees. It was a hot afternoon once again. Looks like that's going to end up as the daytime high, 27.3. We got temperatures in the 24 to 27 range outside the city. A couple little sprinkles this afternoon in a couple of neighborhoods. Most of the city stayed dry, though. 20 degrees, the average daytime high, so another day way above average. And look at that morning low, 15 degrees. We may be cooler than that for daytime highs, though, early next week. There's a big soaker coming our way. Talk more about that later in the newscast. That's what it looks like outside right now. Partly cloudy skies over the Edmonton area. All the risk of showers has moved off to the north and northeast. And although we do have some showers and thunderstorms bubbling up there north of the Coronation region, I think that's all going to pass east of the Edmonton area. And that stuff there west of Rocky Mountain House, those thunderstorms, those will stay in the foothills. Further to the north, there's the showers and even a few isolated thunderstorms that we had earlier this afternoon in northeastern Alberta. They're starting to fizzle out now, and so even that part of the province should dry up this evening. 23 degrees at 9 p.m. will drop to about 16. Another morning low in the mid-teens and another daytime high in the high 20s tomorrow. Mainly sunny skies. We'll get close to 30 tomorrow, 30, maybe even 31 Friday, but that's where it ends. Big cool down on the way for the weekend to go along with some rain. We'll talk about that in a couple minutes.
Thank you, Josh. Still ahead, innovative ice exploration.
We're going to see how it operates in this very unique environment with, how it manages its range, how it charges each day.
A first of its kind solar vehicle scaling the Columbia ice fields. Also next.
He would always pick Popeyes that we would get on the way home to celebrate and sit down and have a feast with the family.
How you can support the Ben Stelter Foundation by enjoying Ben's favorite meal.
Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
A company that runs tours of the Columbia ice field has unveiled a first-of-its-kind electric vehicle. The new Ice Explorer will take guests on the same rocky route to the Athabasca Glacier, but it'll be entirely powered by solar energy. Tim Brooke has more on the vehicle and on how it could signal an eco-friendly shift.
There are some things you're almost guaranteed to see in Jasper National Park: the Rockies, tourists, and one of these. The Ice Explorers have been taking guests to the Athabasca Glacier for decades. The fleet's newest member is a little different.
Make sure you use the handrails, please. This is the first of its kind, and we're going to learn from it and go from there on potentially doing more in the future.
The electric Ice Explorer recently took its maiden glacial voyage.
This is a really important step when it comes to emissions, and so it feels good, and that's my favorite part in all this, for sure.
It's lighter, roomier, and quieter than its diesel predecessors.
Good conversation.
The Made in Canada Explorer can run up to 6 days of tours without needing a solar charge.
So our challenge was, how do we make a vehicle that can operate in these conditions, going up very steep hills, going down very steep hills, hauling a lot of weight. So our main design was trying to make this vehicle as light as possible. So to start from the ground up is what we did. We have 6 kilowatts of solar on the roof, which puts back approximately 12% on an average day into the battery.
The unveil comes 6 years after a devastating Ice Explorer crash killed 3 passengers and injured 14 others. There were no criminal charges, but the vehicles have all since been equipped with more safety features.
Everything is based on the regenerative braking. So the engine itself will recharge as you're heading down the hill, and it adds that brake automatically without having to put your foot on it. So I really do think it feels a lot safer.
The electric Explorer cost roughly $1.2 million. It is now operating. Tim Brooke, CTV News, Calgary.
Edmonton's food bank got a boost from a national insurance company today. Westland insurance workers were at the Mayfield Save On Foods as part of the company's national food drive. The team collected non-perishable food donations for the food bank at a time of great need.
It is going to be a lot of food. We're hoping so. Last year we did over 10,000 pounds, and we'd love to double that this year. This is actually the second annual for our Alberta branch.
Westland's National Food Drive started small with a local initiative in a BC community. It has since spread across the country and the company's more than 80 branches. Popeye's Chicken is celebrating the birthday of a boy from Edmonton who captured the hearts of people across the country. Today would have been Ben Stelter's 10th birthday. The Oilers superfan died of brain cancer in 2022. A foundation in his name now supports other young cancer patients and their families. For a second year, Popeyes is donating money raised through the sale of Ben's favorite chicken tender combo to that foundation.
Popeyes was a special place for our family to celebrate birthdays, and when Ben would be in the hospital for long stays, when he'd get released, we'd want a way to celebrate, and he'd always pick a meal that we would have, and he would always pick Popeyes that we would get on the way home to celebrate and sit down and have a feast with the family.
Popeyes has been selling Ben's meal all month long. You can also purchase one of these limited edition cups. Still ahead, branching out.
So I built this website to help the public kind of learn about and just see like the studies behind significant and cool trees in Alberta.
Edmonton teens' love of trees blossoming into a prestigious academic opportunity.
So it's given to students with an entrepreneurial mindset that are doing something to make a positive impact on their world.
If you like the heat, you're going to like the forecast. You want some rain? You're also going to be a fan of the forecast. We'll get into it right after the break.
Programming brought to you by Century Casino. 3 great locations: Edmonton, St. Albert, and Century Mile.
High school student has won a prestigious scholarship only awarded to 100 students across the country. He's earned $100,000 towards his university education thanks to a website he created exploring Alberta's trees. Armin Issa reports.
This is a Scots pine here. It's one of the easiest to identify pine trees in the entire province because of its bright red bark up top.
17-year-old Josh Kirsch knows his way around a pine tree and almost every other tree species in the province. The grade 12 student has always had an interest in trees.
I got a little silver maple there, a few blue spruces in the back.
We first introduced you to Kirsch in 2022. He and a teacher launched the website Alberta Grade 1 Tree Project, tracking where trees were planted and their progress. Now he has his own tree website.
So I built this website to help the public kind of learn about and just see like the studies behind significant and cool trees in Alberta.
It's called Ancient Roots Alberta. For the past 6 years, he's been exploring the province, documenting all the trees that dot our landscape.
I've definitely spent hundreds of hours just building the platform and the app itself, and it's honestly hard to put it into a number how long I've spent working on trees, like documenting and measuring trees, because again, it's something I really enjoy doing. It's a passion of mine.
So far, there are more than 370 trees recorded on an interactive map.
I've explored all of them, I've been to them myself, and yeah, 375 trees with lots of them have photos, measurements, and stories behind them.
The teen's love of trees will hopefully help him branch off into a successful career. He earned a $100,000 scholarship to study forest business management at the University of Alberta.
And it's one of the most prestigious scholarships in Canada, given to students with academic excellence in the STEM field. So it's given to students with an entrepreneurial mindset that are doing something to make a positive impact on their world.
Kirsch was encouraged to apply by his guidance counselor at Jasper Place High School.
It's not very often you get a student that has the academic abilities as well as the passion and the story behind all of that.
Kirsch hopes his website will get people exploring their neighborhoods and finding new trees to add to his site. You can learn more at ancientrootsalberta.ca. Naram Nisa, CTV News, Edmonton.
All right, a forecast for almost everybody.
Yeah, it just depends on the timing, right? And I'm sure someone will still complain. Take a look outside right now. Send your complaints to Jeff. 27 degrees right now as you look through the River Valley Sky Camps, brought to you by Action Furnace. Fixed right over, it's free. A little bit of cloud cover out there starting to clear out now. 26 in Red Deer for a high, 23 in Fort McMurray, but 29 Cold Lake, 31 and 32 in Lloydminster and Coronation. Grand Prairie got into the mid-20s today, should be in the mid-20s again across northern Alberta tomorrow, and in the mid-20s to low 30s across the south. Here's your heat warning, still in place for the areas in pink. Again, we're right on the edge of this. Edmonton, Red Deer, Calgary, not technically included in the warning, but I mean, you're going to have morning lows in the mid-teens. You're going to have daytime highs around 30 for the next couple of days. It's just the extreme heat, the hottest temperatures are going to stay off to the east of us. Watch how that backs up, though, on Friday. I've got 30 in the forecast for Friday, 29 for tomorrow, 30 Friday. I think we might get to 31 or 32 on Friday. And then after that, still around 20 on Saturday. And look at how things cool off in a big way Sunday because there's a rainmaker coming. You got showers across northeastern Alberta. Those are starting to fizzle out and move off into northern Saskatchewan. So Fort McMurray looks like you're pretty much done with the rain. Still a little bit just off to the south. Further to the south here, north of Coronation, pushing through parts of the Wainwright area, especially just west of Wainwright. That looks like it's probably producing not only some heavy rain and a lot of lightning, but maybe even some small hail coming off of that. And then these are going to fizzle out in through the foothills. Here in Edmonton, little storms off to the east will miss us. Storms off to the west-southwest should fizzle out before they get even close. We'll get a bit of cloud cover tomorrow morning. There might be a couple sprinkles just west of the city, but no real heavy precipitation expected. And then late in the day tomorrow, again, thunderstorms in through the foothills. Most of those probably fizzle out before they get to the Edmonton area. I think our next best chance at seeing some rain here in the city comes Saturday night. Now, that said, Friday morning, could you see a couple showers with that little bit of cloud cover? Yeah, maybe. Probably not, but maybe. Best chance Friday is going to be in northwestern Alberta for some thunderstorms, and those potentially could be severe thunderstorms. There's your warm flow setting up for the next couple of days, and there is what could bring us several days of soaking rain. I mean, there are some models indicating maybe 70 to 120 millimeters, 7 to 12 centimeters of rain potentially over the course of about 2 or 3 days in parts of central and north central Alberta. 27 in Edmonton right now. It's 31 still in Lloydminster, 25 in Grand Prairie, and 26 in Red Deer. It was gusty again in east central Alberta and in the Red Deer region. Those wind gusts are going to die down this evening. Should be a calmer day for both those areas tomorrow. Pretty calm day here in Edmonton as well. 16 in the morning up to about 21 in the afternoon. 29 and 30 for Thursday, Friday. And then I think most of Saturday it's just mostly cloudy and about 20. But Saturday night, that rain starts and it may continue right through into Tuesday of next week.
Thanks, Josh. Still ahead, armed forces upgrade.
I'm pleased to announce that Canada has entered into negotiations to procure Saab's airborne early warning and control aircraft.
Canada makes a Swedish deal, and
I'm glad to see him go. I think that he has done more to damage national unity probably than any other politician.
Why Danielle Smith is smiling over a Liberal resignation.
Programming brought to you by Green Tree Outdoor Living, where your dream yard becomes a reality. Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
In the latest move away from the U.S., Prime Minister Mark Carney announced today Canada is turning to Sweden for a cutting-edge aerial surveillance system. CTV's Judy Trin has more on what this means for Canada's defence.
A packed room at a defence conference, listening to the Prime Minister's mantra.
Build, partner, buy. We are focused first on building in Canada.
Exemplified by an investment in a joint Swedish-Canadian venture.
I'm pleased to announce that Canada has entered into negotiations to procure Saab's airborne early warning and control aircraft.
Saab's Global Eye surveillance system is built on the platform of Bombardier's corporate jet. The company has at least 40 aircraft in its pipeline to be sold to Canada and other allies. 3,000 jobs could be created. Economic spin-offs are in the tens of billions of dollars.
What this will do is create a new layer of job opportunities in terms of the modifications of the aircraft. So what Bombardier is doing now is getting actively involved in the discussions to create this secondary production.
Saab beat out an American competitor for its surveillance aircraft, momentum that it hopes could lift its chances of convincing Canada to purchase its Gripen fighter jet instead of the US-made F-35. There are lineups to get into its cockpit.
We can show now as a company and as a country how closely we want to work with Canada. And if I can show how I can create an industrial collaboration and a hub on this type of capability in Canada.
At the Lockheed Martin booth, the F-35 simulator and its test pilot attracts interest but not buzz. Amid U.S. trade tensions, moving forward with procuring fighter jets has been paused for more than a year, worrying Canadian suppliers who have much to lose if the F-35 isn't selected.
direct jobs, but also strengthening the company's programs and capabilities.
Wrapping up the negotiations for these surveillance planes will likely take a few more months. As for a decision on the fighter jets, the federal government is still refusing to say when. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
Liberal MP Stephen Guilbeault made it official today. He'll be resigning his seat in the House of Commons this summer. While he'll stay as part of the government for now, he's criticizing what he calls his party's change in policies on climate change. Mike Couture has more.
Stephen Guilbeault said his first goodbyes to his Quebec colleagues in the Liberal Party, sharing a warm moment with the finance minister on the way out.
I want to applaud the person. I want to applaud his dedication to build Canada.
Guilbeault said his decision to leave politics began when he resigned from cabinet after the federal government inked an energy deal with Alberta with a plan to build a new pipeline. He's worried it will put Canada's emission reduction targets out of reach.
We're not committing to being carbon neutral by 2050. We're saying something like we'll strive to be carbon neutral, but we know that we won't be able to achieve.
The former environment minister warns Canadians are going to pay the price for the rolling back of climate change policies that he helped champion. And the Quebec MP feels there has been a shift within the Liberal Party since last year's election.
That platform, so commitments that we made to Canadians, mentioned climate change 28 times. It did not mention pipeline once.
Hours before those comments, Prime Minister Mark Carney defended his government's record on fighting climate change while also praising Guilbeault's work.
We worked together when I was UN Special Representative on climate action and finance as well, so we worked together closely in a variety of areas, and I've always enjoyed working with him.
While Guilbeault feels the Liberals have watered down climate change policies, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre countered that argument.
Mr. Guilbeault's radical anti-development agenda, which Mr. Carney enthusiastically advocated in his own book, all of that remains in place.
Guilbeault says he's not the only member of the Liberal caucus who's uncomfortable with what's happening on climate change. Mike Couture, CTV News, Ottawa.
Premier Danielle Smith did not hide her feelings about the former environment minister. Speaking today on BNN, Smith said the Prime Minister still has too many MPs working against Alberta's interests.
He still has members of his caucus who object to undoing a lot of the harmful policies. One of them quit today, Stephen Guilbeault, who's the architect of most of that. I'm glad to see him go. I think that he has done more to damage national unity probably than any other politician.
Smith says while she believes Alberta and Ottawa can work out their problems, a referendum on a possible separation vote is still needed because many Albertans are frustrated with the relationship. Uganda has ordered the immediate closure of its border with the Democratic Republic of Congo as cases of a deadly Ebola strain surge. Cases have been rising in health workers who have been exposed to the virus by Congolese patients who've crossed the border. The border between Uganda and Congo is almost 1,000 kilometers long and crossed by official posts and many informal footpaths. There are almost 1,000 suspected cases and at least 220 suspected deaths in the two countries. Thousands of contacts are being investigated. 5 of the 7 villagers trapped in a cave in Laos for more than a week have been found alive. Cheering erupted outside the cave when the 5 were discovered. Rescuers are continuing their search for the other 2 people. The group went into the cave last week to look for gold. Heavy rain and a landslide trapped them inside. The Prime Minister says Canada is ready to open the long-awaited Gordie Howe International Bridge between Windsor and Detroit. The bridge's opening has been up in the air for months, with the Trump administration saying it will not open unless Canada changes the current tolling arrangement with Michigan.
I would remind that Canada paid for the bridge. Canada built the bridge jointly with American contractors, American workers, American materials. It is a great asset for both countries. There are discussions at the ambassadorial level around the bridge.
The bridge cost Canada almost $6.5 billion. It's publicly owned by both Canada and the state of Michigan, with Canada planning to recoup expenses through toll revenues. Still ahead, optimism ahead of trade talks.
A lot has changed in Canada, and we're moving forward at speed.
What Canada is bringing to the table as our country's U.S. trade minister prepares for major negotiations this summer. And there's a live look in southwest Edmonton. Anthony Henday Drive, the tail end of rush hour crossing the North Saskatchewan River. Stay with us.
Programming brought to you by Alberta iGaming Corporation. For integrity, for fun, for Alberta.
Thursday, we talk traffic and construction issues in Edmonton Southwest with the councillor for that area, plus the comedian who made the Alberta accent famous online returns to Edmonton.
Your Morning Edmonton, weekdays.
Looking at today's market numbers, the Canadian dollar down just slightly, but holding steady near 72 cents U.S. Oil dropped more than $5, closing around $88 a barrel. Gold is down $53 on the day. On the stock market, the TSX down 241 points, the Dow Jones up 182. Canada's Minister for U.S. Trade will be in Washington next week, just weeks ahead of the July 1st deadline to review the Canada-U.S.-Mexico trade agreement. CTV's Abigail Beeman has the latest on the talks.
Dominic LeBlanc isn't saying much about his travel plans, but his key message is things aren't so bad and people are paying too much attention to where Mexico is in trade talks relative to Canada. Attention is on Mexico these days because by all appearances they are further ahead. The United States Trade Representative's office announced it will kick off the first of 3 rounds of formal negotiations with Mexico this week, but made no mention of Canada and did not respond to a request from CTV News. The U.S. has continued to make clear it has a number of trade irritants. Earlier this week at an event, Jameson Greer referenced trade challenges with Canada. While Canada-U.S. Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc tells CTV he met with Greer Monday for an hour via video and said Canada's chief trade negotiator was on the call too. LeBlanc tells us he will head to Washington for in-person meetings next week. Before his trip to New York, the Prime Minister told reporters this morning his meetings there are focused on the private sector, with institutions that are either already investing or are interested in investing in Canada.
A lot has changed in Canada, and we're moving forward at speed. You just have to just refer back to what we're discussing here. $500 billion of defense-related investment in the course of the next decade in Canada. Even in New York, that's real money. That's of interest, and there's opportunities to partner, and those will be the discussions. It's not a trade mission in that sense in terms of trade negotiations.
The Prime Minister also referenced ongoing conversations LeBlanc is having, and of course all this comes against the backdrop of the July 1st deadline for a review of the Canada-U.S.-Mexico free trade deal. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
The Federal Natural Resources Minister has confirmed a deal for Canada to supply liquefied natural gas to Germany.
This marks a major milestone for this project as it advances towards its final investment decision, its construction and production. Through this agreement, CFE will purchase 1 million tons per annum of LNG for up to 20 years, beginning in the early 2030s.
The gas will be shipped from the yet-to-be-built Silicium's plant and export terminal plan for northern BC. It's a partnership between the Nisga'a Nation, Houston-based Western LNG, and the Canadian group Rockies LNG. The Canadian Automobile Association is warning about an increase in distraction thefts. It says criminals are targeting drivers using a mix of distraction tactics and high-tech tools. The schemes often involve criminals approaching drivers in parking lots or shopping centers and using electronic devices to capture their key fob signals. It requires the key fob to be within the range of the car it's connected to.
Thieves are using different types of techniques to try to gain access to vehicles, and that's really trying to take advantage of a lot of people's goodwill by asking questions and distracting them for just a moment, because they'll have these devices with them that are intended to try and clone a vehicle's key fob, and by getting somebody's attention for a couple of moments unsuspectingly, they're going to get access to that information and try to get access to your vehicle.
The CAA recommends parking in well-lit and busy areas, being wary of anyone who approaches you, and storing key fobs in special pouches that can block the devices. The attorneys general of New York and New Jersey say they've issued a subpoena to FIFA over its ticketing practices. It comes after reports fans were misled about the location of the seats they bought for World Cup games. They're also looking at whether public statements by FIFA and the way it released the tickets may have caused prices to spike. The investigation looks specifically at ticketing for MetLife Stadium, which will host 8 matches and the final. Still ahead, Olympic inspiration.
It's really fun. I've been very excited this whole time. I got to wear a gold medal.
Dozens of Canada's top athletes hoping to inspire the next generation to go for gold.
Stay with us. We've got another full night of great shows for you tonight on CTV.
Nearly 150 of Canada's Olympic and Paralympic athletes spent the day in Ottawa hoping to inspire the next generation of athletes. CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver reports.
The Games may be long over, but the Olympic and Paralympic celebrations continue. The audience today, dozens of Ottawa school kids.
It's really fun. I've been very excited this whole time. I got to wear a gold medal. It's been really fun. Hold on tight.
A fun and motivating moment with freestyle skier Megan Oldham and her gold medal. That 10-year-old Ignacio Corpena will never forget.
Any sport, I'm now excited to do any sport whatsoever. I don't think it really matters as long as I have fun. Do you know about this?
The meet and greet outside Rideau Hall.
Can I use the pen for a second?
Special for the students and for athletes like Paralympic gold and bronze medalist Tyler Turner.
Maybe we don't all get to stand at the top of a podium at the Olympics or Paralympics. However, that pursuit of a goal like that, it comes with community, it comes with pride, it comes with, growth, and that's what I think we can all get from sport.
From Rideau Hall to Parliament, the country's best athletes receiving a thank you on behalf of all Canadians.
Your success, your drive, your example, your sports, your sense of sporting values, that united this country.
A country athletes like figure skaters Paul Poirier and Piper Gillies are proud to represent.
Sport brings people together, and to be here and be celebrated feels great. But again, we're inspiring the next people to be like, hey, maybe that can be us one day. So I think these are really important moments, and we're just really embracing it all.
Canada brought home 36 medals in Milan, and Ottawa is hoping to grow that success with a $775 million investment in high-performance sport unveiled in the Spring Economic Update. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Ottawa.
Couple more hot days. Not a lot of precipitation, just a slight chance. Maybe a scattered shower tomorrow. Most of tomorrow, partly cloudy skies, 29. Again, Friday, there's a chance of a thunderstorm in the evening, but most of the day is going to be just hot and dry. It gets a lot wetter, though, starting Saturday night and right through Sunday, Monday, and possibly into Tuesday. I've got 20 for Saturday. We'll see if that rain rolls in a little earlier. Maybe it's a bit cooler than that. I've got 13s for Sunday, Monday, and 15 for Tuesday, and that might be a little optimistic. There's a chance we're closer to 10 those days. But we could use the rain. It'd be nice to have after all this heat.
Absolutely. Thanks, Josh. Thanks for sharing your time with us. Have a great night, everyone.